Welcome to the Triple Threat YouTube channel for another episode of the Triple Threat podcast. Guys, we're on video, we're doing a Discord call, got all the technology to work, and we are ready to talk about the most exciting event in sports right now. It's the NBA Finals coming up between the San Antonio Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Boys, this is going to be a great final series, and who better to watch it with and talk about it with than Noah Wilson and MJ Jorge in the building.
How y'all doing? What's going on? Hello.
What's up? What's up?
Guys, we had a great playoffs, I feel like, this year. Like, it has been so much fun to watch from the first round all the way to this. But now we're going to see the two best teams in the league go at it for the Larry O'Brien Trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I'll say. I think it's been a really great playoffs. I think we've had like 5 game 7s in this entire playoffs, which I think kind of speaks to how competitive all of the series have been. I think something that I've been able to appreciate is just the fact that obviously the series that need to be taken care of quickly were taken care of quickly. And I think just in general, the ones that were more competitive, like Detroit versus Orlando, was very nasty to watch offensively. But you like the defense from both sides. You like what both sides presented, and overall, like as a fan, it kind of made me appreciate more about basketball, just because the regular season, in a sense, like not everyone's gonna be locked into what's going on, but then when it comes to playoff time, that's like the time where you really gotta lock in and then you really gotta see what's going on. And yeah, I think everyone's aware of like most of the teams that I think all of the teams that are here at this point, basically, which is great to see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
man.
no, I was going to just say, Noah, like, this playoffs, the whole way it's been so competitive. And I know that for you, that was one thing you wanted to see in the NBA for a long time. How does it feel to have so much parity right now?
Well, I mean, it's amazing, guys. Like this is what sports are all about. All about. Sorry, just the competitiveness, right? And it all comes down to these finals. Like this matchup
Hmm.
is, I think it just speaks to how competitive, these finals have been. This is going to be a very, very competitive finals that can go really either way, and the storylines are endless. You got the young Spurs with Wemby, next generational talent, up against a Knicks, a team who's been kind of taking a crack at it for a very long time.
Yeah,
Failing numerous years to finally break through and get there. It's just gonna be cinema, guys.
can't wait, man.
Absolutely, and if you want to keep up with everything that is going on in the NBA with the best people to talk about basketball with, it's definitely Triple Threat. So make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram. All of those links are going to be in the description of the video or wherever you get your podcast. We'll post this there too. And give us 5 stars if you like what we're doing here so the algorithm shows us some love the way we're trying to show you guys some love. And guys, let's talk about the conference finals first. So, in the Eastern Conference, the Knicks dominate the Hawks, dominate the
Cad,
Sixers, then dominate the Cavs
that's
in
true. Yeah.
incredible fashion all the way through to get to this point. This feels like a coming of age season for the Knicks. They've been trying so hard for so long to get it to all work out, and finally they got the right coach. Jalen Brunson's having an MVP level season. Noah, when you look at this Knicks team, what are the few things here that are making them so special and make them so deadly in this final series?
Well, when I look at this Knicks team, I always say like they're a team that was built with an intent. You know, each player plays their role so right, and no one's really trying to be, the star of the show, the person who kind of, takes control of the whole game on their own. It's a team effort. It really is. Even Brunson, obviously he's the guy who's going to take that final shot every time. It's a team. It really is a team, and I think just how they were built, even with Mike Brown, I think that was such a smart hire because he's a coach that can unite a team like this. We saw it in Sacramento, and I think this is what the Knicks needed. They needed an identity and a new culture and just a new way of doing things. And with how they've just rolled through the playoffs, you can tell this is where the playoffs begin now. It's the finals. Like it feels like all of this was just kind of like a preliminary, like game. This is now where they want to be because they knew it was like MJ has preached this whole season. um it's chip or bust for the Knicks, right? Like this is the year to do it. So they have not disappointed at all. And I mean, I just look at this team. It's going to be an absolute. I don't want to think about how much mayhem MSG is going to be. Game 3 and 4, guys. Like it's going to be just insane,
Gonna
just
be delayed.
unreal. So
It's gonna be delayed.
props to them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if New York City doesn't exist after they win the NBA championship, or even if they lose the NBA championship because I mean the frustration would boil over at a certain point too. MJ,
Hmm.
listen, I know you've been a James Harden fan for a long time. Talk to me about what happened in that Cavs series. How were the Knicks able to make the Cavs look like such chump change? And what happened to your boy?
Okay, first off, this guy, bro. First off, I only defend Harden's time in Houston, and then that's it. Ever since like post Houston, I have not been sitting here and trying to defend him. But I give credit to the fact that like the Knicks were able to really ease themselves in after game one because I think because during game one, excuse me, they were kind of struggling to find their flow just because it's been like what 8 days, 9 days since the last time that they played. And so obviously, like you're dealing with the rust, you're dealing with the effects of coming back. And really through the first three quarters, it wasn't great for them at all. But I think what kind of motivated them was like, they're them being down 22. The game is basically over at that point, right? There's like 8 minutes left in the game. And I think with them just being able to string a stop and score, a stop and score, a stop and score, and then Jalen Brunson eventually getting them like those key buckets down the stretch. I think just speaks to how much they were able to be focused. It's so funny. Like throughout the duration of the game, they were struggling with their shot. Like they were just struggling, and then in the fourth quarter, they were able to turn up. And I think in a sense this was going to be a tough matchup for James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. So obviously, Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley should have, keyword should have, gotten more opportunities there because obviously they're dependent on someone else getting them the ball as opposed to Harden and Donovan Mitchell who are independent and can get their own. So I was kind of disappointed in the fact that like the Cavs didn't go to that more. Instead, it resorted to James Harden turning the ball over. It resorted to Donovan Mitchell taking tough shots, sometimes bad shots, and instead not finding ways to make his teammates better. So those are some of the ways that like the Knicks were able to kind of exploit that, just kind of force that, and also of course they used James Harden in a lot of actions in Game One, and also throughout the rest of the series. So it was bad. Like in that Game One, just kind of seeing them hunt Harden like 7 possessions in a row was actually like awful. Like it was actually awful to see. And to see Kenny Atkinson doesn't even call a timeout. He didn't call a timeout until Brunson hit that three. That's when he called the timeout, and I'm like,
It's too
how?
late
Like,
now. You got the whole city
yeah,
lit.
like
Yeah.
this guy won Coach of the Year last year, and then like this year, it's like the lights get too bright. Like, what happened to you? Basically, like I don't know. Maybe the lights got too bright for him, but I think analytically, Kenny Atkinson feels that he won that series. So we'll leave him up into interpretation for that, whatever that means. But
Feels like the only lights that aren't too bright for James Harden are the ones in the strip club he goes to after he loses. I mean, like this
all right,
guy
all right, all
is
right, all right, all right. This guy, bro. All
maybe
right,
the
all
most
right.
spectacular playoff choker I've ever witnessed. This guy's got a 40 no, he's got a $42 million player option for next year. That's James
It's
Harden.
it's pretty bad, man. And like, I mean, it shows how good LeBron is, man. Because you would argue that he's 36, so you expect his production to drop off. But MJ, this is something that's been with him his entire career. He's
Whole
never
career
been
in
able to
Houston
smoke for a
too.
big game. Never, ever. Even his Houston days, like Z just said, his prime, he was never there. So it's
He
almost like
he
I
played.
want to give him the benefit of the doubt because of his age, but at
Uh
the
huh.
same time, it's like, brother, you just haven't got it done your whole career. Like this is who you are. You're just not a big time player. So LeBron's out here, cooking at 55.
Yeah, he's been able to.
Harden, no.
Yeah, it's so funny to hear like James Harden get all of this criticism and Donovan Mitchell is right there. Like this guy's right there and he didn't play well either. But yeah, let's blame James Harden. Let's blame the 36-year-old, right? Let's blame the 36-year-old that got traded to Cleveland mid-season. For sure. Let's blame him as opposed to the guy that's there, that's been there. And it's like when we get to the postseason, by the time we get to the second round or third round, this guy just breaks down. Like this guy just
But what
breaks
I, what
down
I will
and he
say
gets hurt.
is Mitchell is low key probably the next Harden. I can't lie. His like they're perfect for each other because like D Mitch has those choking allegations too. He had it with the Jazz, can never get it done with the Jazz. Now he's with Cleveland, can never get it done with Cleveland. He might be the next Harden, bro. Low key. Don't talk about Wade, bro. He's the next Harden.
I
I
think
think what I will say, kind of as my last point, I understood the Utah. I think those teams were overrated to begin with. I never really believed in them, but I think with Cleveland, like there's always been Darius Garland got hurt in 2024, and then I think it was either Jared Allen or Evan Mobley got hurt in 2024. Donovan Mitchell missed a game last year. I will admit there's not a lot of blame that I can give him because, like I said, Garland got hurt and Mobley got
And
hurt.
he
The brother
averaged
averaged
30.
40.
40
Yeah,
or
I think
yeah, he was
30 or
insane.
40. I think it was 40, something like that. So obviously, like he was put in like a lose-lose situation. But this year, not only was James Harden healthy enough, Jared Allen was healthy, Evan Mobley was healthy, and so it's just disappointing to see them drag the two series beforehand in the Toronto Raptors. Toronto should have beat them. Unfortunately, they weren't able to, but Toronto should have beat them. And unfortunately, they did that to themselves to where they dragged it for 7 games. And then I'm hearing tired allegations. Which like, no, you don't want to be hearing that. Like, as a guy like you, as a guy, that for you, like you kind of look at the intangibles of basketball. You don't want to be using that as an excuse going into another series.
No, not at all, guys. You're a professional basketball player. Your stamina should be, top notch. And to be fair, the Knicks, bro, they've been sent home early like every year, bro. They should be rested, bro. What do you mean tired? What is this? OKC should be tired, bro, not you. What have you done? That's crazy. So
Yeah.
yeah, and you're right. Yeah, I agree.
So you're telling me 26, 5, and 4 is disappointing? Because that's what Donovan Mitchell was putting up in this year's playoffs.
Fake stats. Fake
To,
stats.
to the
He didn't
people at
win.
home, this is why stats are deceiving because you can just tell, oh, he had 26, 5, and
No, but
4.
I mean
The brother
he's
was,
helping
was
them
cooking.
stay in games, and if he has another co-star to come with him and help him on
Mm-mm,
offense, maybe he
mm-mm.
can do this a little bit better.
No.
This
There
is
you
a
The
go.
guy who is
co-star,
known for being
the
in.
co-star, the co-star should have gotten more looks for both of his centers instead of chucking the ball because they knew that Jared Allen and Evan Mobley had an advantage compared to James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. Like Donovan Mitchell has to go see OG or Josh Hart or McHale. He got to go see those defenders, and then James Harden as well. So it's like
The
you
co-star
had
had
what, Cat
your
and Josh
co-star
Hart?
your co-star had 7 games with more turnovers than field goals made this year. He
I don't
if he
know. I don't know
passes
what
the
you're
ball, it's to
expecting.
the other team. It's go down the
I
court.
don't know
Here
what
you
you.
go. At that
I
point,
don't
it
know what
doesn't
you're
matter if
expecting.
Donovan Mitchell averages 40. Harden's going to give the other team 40 points off turnovers. It doesn't matter.
When it comes to blame, I think everybody has their respect. Like if there was like a blame pie, everybody has their percentage of like the pie that it
James
goes
Harden's
to.
got
I
a
just
pie
don't
for
think it's
himself
one.
all the way over there in the corner,
No,
and
no,
then
that's
everybody
not
else gets a
true.
piece
That's
of
not
another
true.
pie.
That's not true. Kenny Atkinson
Kenny Atkinson got a
legitimately
big pie
not
too. He
making
got a big piece.
adjustments and not calling a timeout. He basically lost like him and Harden lost themselves a game. Also Donovan Mitchell not wanting to be aggressive at the end of game 1. I think he did hurt himself, which is why he was like not aggressive anymore. But it's like Donovan Mitchell, you're not being aggressive. What's going on? And then why is James Harden get I was so mad when James Harden put up a shot every single time in that fourth quarter. Why are you shooting the ball when you weren't in rhythm the whole game? It reminded me when I was pissed that Jason Tatum was shooting sidestep threes last year in the Knicks series. This guy was fully just shooting anything. And I'm like, brother, you are not in rhythm. Stop shooting that. Like, that's what it reminded me of. So James Harden, he wasn't good really the whole game, but he's like, you know what?
He's never
Hey,
been
let
good in
me
the
step
playoffs.
back, step
He's never
back.
been good.
Hey, move on, move on. Too much talk about the Cavs right now. Let's move on to the other conference finals, please.
Yeah, you know
God,
what? The
right.
other conference finals were crazy as well. The Spurs and the Thunder clash in a conference finals that I don't think anybody expected to be this way, except for one Noah Wilson, who thought the Spurs were ready before the season even started, and we watched them decimate during the regular season. They looked the Blazers in the eyes. I think everyone had them beating the Blazers, but
Yeah,
Minnesota in the second round, that's a tough series. And then you go all the way. You beat OKC in the seventh game in their house. Shea has 35-9, and you shut him down for the last 4 minutes of the game. Guys, was this more about the Spurs being unstoppably good at this young age, or did they choke this series away, or was it the injuries? No, I'll start with you
Oh,
here.
no. Guys, I think going into this series, we saw it during the regular season. Like, the Spurs had the formula on how to beat this team, how to beat the Thunder. Because, I mean, you saw it. The Thunder, out of every team, they got the most frustrated when they went against the Spurs. I mean, why is that? Well, you have a 7'4" giant, who can just do everything. Shoot half court shots, dunk it on your whole team in one jump, mid range, maestro, you know what I'm saying? Maestro. It's crazy. But I think what really makes this team special is just how they deployed their team against this OKC team. Like they weren't afraid. You know what I'm saying? They went at them. It's like they didn't even care that Shea was the MVP. You know what I'm saying? They were like, we can beat you. We don't care. They had that dog mentality, really. That's what it was. And I think you combine that obviously with Wemby. Like they really matched well with this OKC team. Like Chet, he had nothing on him. He had nothing on Wemby. Chet had nothing.
He had nothing.
Chet
Period.
had nothing.
He had nothing on anybody.
It was crazy. And then even bro, even Shea, I remember that the final minutes of that game 7, like he was afraid to shoot. Like he got to the point where he was afraid to shoot the basketball. You don't see that from Shea. He was afraid. So this San Antonio team, it wasn't because of injuries that they won. It wasn't because of luck. Like they genuinely had a strategy and they executed it. And quite frankly, guys, I think they're just the better team. I know it's crazy to say, they proved it. I think they're just the better team. So really props to the Spurs. I predicted it, as Z said. Um, and guys, the Wemby show, it's arrived. It's arrived, guys. I saw it in the Olympics when I watched the Olympics. That was probably the first time I really saw a glimpse of it. That Wemby can take a team and allow them to overachieve and honestly maybe even win a championship. Just like, Z's favorite player, LeBron James. So it's good to see, man.
Listen, when Wemby showed up in that robe for Eve in game 6, I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be a different level of Wemby, and it was a different level of him. Like for a player at 22 to be that good, it's incredible to me. But MJ, when you look at OKC, they were down without Jalen Williams, they were without AJ Mitchell, who had averaged over 20 points a game in the previous playoff series that he was healthy in against the Lakers. If the Thunder were fully healthy, is this a series that the Spurs are still able to win?
I've had conversations with people about that in a sense, like what would have happened if J Dub was healthy. I think it still would have been the same outcome because as Noah talked about it, guys, like they beat him in the regular season, what, like 4 times, 5 times, including the NBA Cup game. So it was clear as day. I was like still doubting it because it's like, you know what? Maybe because they're the defending champs and whatnot. Maybe once we get into the postseason setting, then I think they'll be able to beat them, but it won't be like as dominant in a sense, right? And even then, they were still struggling. And I think it kind of gives away the like, dang, Chet Holmgren, like I saw a graphic where Chet against all other teams around the league, he was averaging around 17, had really good shooting splits. When it came to the Wemby though, this guy it dropped to nearly 10 points. Like this guy just like it's like every time he sees Wemby, he just all of a sudden just doesn't want anything to do with it. And he took 2 more shots than me in a game 7, putting up his best Tobias Harris impression out there. So I think in a sense like that's inexcusable because you know that you're down your second best player, you're down a rotation piece off the bench. You got to be able to step up in those moments. And I know Noah alluded to Shea not wanting to put up a shot. To be fair, Shea dragged them to that point into the fourth quarter. Like he did a lot for them going into that fourth quarter. But in those moments, I wish Chet was able to be more aggressive. Obviously, Alex Caruso, before this game, Alex Caruso, man, he was hitting his shots, bro. Like I think he was shooting like I think 60% or like 58% from three. Like he was hitting his shots, but it kind of just showed clear as day in a sense that the Spurs, like it didn't matter whether they had a healthy J Dub and a healthy AJ Mitchell or whether it was without them, like they were still able to find ways to win. And I think if you're OKC, like I said, you don't overreact, right? Obviously, you did lose in a sense, but you lost in 7 games and you didn't have your other 2 pieces with you. You recoup, you see what you can do next year. But even if you improve your team, Wemby's still there. Like Wemby will still be there waiting for you. So you can they'll be good. They'll be fine. I expect them to be a top 2 seed in the West again next year. But Wemby will still be waiting for them no matter what. So yeah.
Listen, we're not letting Shea off the hook for the last 4 minutes of Game 7.
I mean,
I
like I
understand
said,
drag the team to that point is fine, but you know who I've been a fan of for the past 20 or so years. LeBron gets flack for not scoring in the last minute of the game. For
LeBron gets flagged for
straight
not
minutes.
passing
For
in
passing
the
the ball.
last game.
Shea didn't create any offense for anybody outside of himself in the last 4 minutes. He didn't get to the free throw line in the last 4 minutes. He didn't shoot a shot. Like that's your back-to-back MVP. This is the guy that we lauded as potentially the best player in the world coming into this season. He goes into the conference finals, and in the moment when one player can have the most influence, he had no influence.
Yeah, I mean their offense was too predictable though, to be fair. Like it was always just Shea get the ball at the top of the key and break down Stephon Castle. There are times where Shea was able to make a quick decision, but then they just went away from it and say, no, you know what? Shea, come get the ball at the top of the key. And I'm like, the guy's starting the offense from like nearly half court. And then he's having to create while having to deal with Wemby pretty much like gapping to his side and also dealing with an overload from the defense, like because the defense is basically shifting to wherever Shea's going, basically, right? Because
This
you
sounds
got
like what every star
all
player has
kinds of
ever
them.
received. This sounds
I
like
agree.
no. Am I
I
crazy?
agree.
Like, is this not how superstars get guarded?
That's how it is.
And I mean, Shea, man, I think he just got overwhelmed. Like I said, Spurs struck the fear in him, MJ. There's no denying that. Like,
And in Chet, he took 2 more shots than all of us did in the finals.
yeah, Chet.
What are we doing?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I like I watched a post game interview with Shea, and he basically told the reporters that this is the worst we're ever gonna see from Chet in his career, and that
Yeah.
means there's obviously lots of good to come. That's what he's alluding to,
It better
and I
be.
agree. I think we seem to forget how young Chet is. He's a very young
Mhm.
star, and this is a
Right.
very young team, and they've found
Mhm.
success so early on in
Mhm.
their careers. So there's gonna be growing pains, and I think yeah, man, this kind of exposed a lot with OKC, and there's almost like a new formula on how to beat them. I don't think they'll be as dominant in the future because teams are going to learn from this series. There's no question. Obviously, they don't have a Wemby. That helped a lot. But I think just also how they, handled Shea and Chet and other players like that, other pieces like that, will go a long way in scouting them in the future.
41 million, 44 million, 47 million, 51 million, 54 million. That's Chet's payroll the next 5 years.
Yeah. Contract hasn't even kicked in yet. I think it kicks in next year. So.
Listen,
I don't.
Yeah.
that can't be the guy who shoots 2 shots in Game 7. That can't be.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's looking like James Harden. Now let's move on. So, guys, the NBA Finals are right around the corner. They're right here now. So we've talked about how these two teams have gotten to this point. Now they're here. The Knicks, the Spurs. They played the last time in the finals. What was it in 1998? I want to say 1999. 1999. And that was the crowning for Tim Duncan and David Robinson together.
Yes.
Huge year for those two. It's not a double big lineup, but you've got a guy who can play like no big we've ever seen before in Victor Wembanyama versus one of the greatest small players we've seen of our generation, and maybe potentially the greatest Knick of all time if he pulls it off, in Jalen Brunson. Noah, when you're going into this final series, what are some of your early thoughts with these two teams here?
I mean, guys, my earliest thoughts is, like I said at the start of this episode, it's going to be just a generational finals. This is going to be cinema. I hope it goes 7 games. I have a feeling it's going to go 7 games. It's going to be just one of the best finals we've ever seen. I think 2016 worthy, all the great finals, like even like 2019, like it's going to be up there. And I think just looking at both teams, they're quite the opposite. I would say the Knicks, you look at a team like the Knicks, they're much more developed. They've been meticulously, crafted over years on end to really get to this point. They have really good pieces that fill each need. And then, I mean, you look at the Spurs, they're just a young, hungry team, man. Like, there isn't really a formula with them. I know early on we all were kind of criticizing them for having so many guards. How is this going to work? How is Fox going to mesh with Castle? And then you throw Harper in the equation. It just seemed like a clutter. But they proved us all wrong. They've come into this season. They were second seed. It kind of come out of nowhere. They kind of pulled a Houston MJ. That's what they pulled. But I think they've actually executed it now. They're in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
They have Wembanyama. At the end of the day, they have Wemby. They have, in my opinion, the next GOAT. This guy's gonna be absolutely insane. This is his first playoff run, and he's already in the final. He slayed probably one of the best teams of the last 10 years, 20 years, like in the OKC Thunder. And now he's on his way to the finals in his first ever playoff run. It's the storylines, guys. It's just endless. And I think you look at both these teams, the Knicks are gonna have to adjust if they're gonna win this series. And the Spurs, I mean, the Knicks' physicality, the Knicks are one of the most physical teams in the league, if not the most physical. And I think, guys, just off my scouting and just kind of watching these games, I think that's their biggest weakness. The Spurs, they don't handle physicality that well, and the Knicks carry that. But then at the same time, the Knicks, they love their interior offense. Brunson, he's a guy who loves to drive the paint. He's gonna have to adjust. He can't really do that against obviously a team that has Victor Wembanyama on it. But Brunson's a very versatile guard. He can do a lot of different things. But so are the Spurs. So I think they just match up so well, and it's gonna be really, really, really entertaining.
3-point shooting's been hot for the Knicks as well. You can't forget about that. But I mean, to be fair, the big factor that swayed everything in Game 7, you could argue, for the Spurs was 3-point shooting late. Keldon Johnson hit a few of them. De'Aaron Fox hit some. Julian Champagnie was, I mean, hot for all of Game 7, it felt like. MJ, you look at these two teams, what do you think some of the X factors are going to be down the stat sheet here as we get into this final series?
I think one of them that automatically kind of comes to mind is the 3-point shooting. Obviously, the Knicks have been shooting the three ball at a historic rate. And obviously, the Spurs, they're not a great 3-point shooting team. I get concerned with San Antonio, especially if the Knicks have a great shooting game. I don't know how the Spurs are going to be able to counter. I think that's one of the things that I kind of noticed immediately, just kind of having my first thoughts on the series was if the Knicks have a game where it's like everything's clicking, like we saw versus the Cavs, like after game 1, the Knicks were able to play better in game 2, play better in game 3, and be dominant in game 4. Can the Spurs in those moments still keep themselves afloat in the game? I think that would be something that would be very, very critical. And obviously, another thing for me is like Carl Anthony Towns can't get in foul trouble. Like the first 3 series beforehand, because the opponents have been less than and whatnot, he's actually been able to stay out of foul trouble, which has been good. In this series, he cannot get in foul trouble. Mitchell Robinson also cannot get in foul trouble because the Knicks don't have like obviously when the Spurs go to Cornet, when Wemby goes to the bench, you kind of feel iffy about it, but it's still like 3 minutes, 4 minutes at most that Cornet is gonna get. But if both Cat is in foul trouble and Mitchell Robinson is in foul trouble, that's gonna be problematic for the Knicks because they don't have like another guy that they can just put out there on the floor that I feel like Mike Brown could trust enough to guard a Wemby or to guard a Cornet in those moments where both Cat and Mitchell Robinson are off the floor. So I think that's going to be something that the Knicks have to watch out for. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how those. I think those two variables of like the big men. I think both Wemby and Mitchell Robinson and Cat, all three of those guys, like foul trouble is gonna be problematic for them. And I think obviously the 3-point shooting. One team is great, the other team not so great. So that can lead into like shooting variance. Like the Knicks have a game where they make like 19 threes and beat the Spurs basically by 20. Like that could happen in a sense, based on how well the Knicks have been shooting the ball.
I agree. I agree. And I also think it goes the same way with the Spurs, right? Like with Brunson,
Mm,
obviously, bunch of young guards, a lot of inexperience. Like Harper, bro, this guy is a rookie, and he's going against one of the best now in the NBA Finals. Brunson's
crazy,
definitely going to have a
crazy.
lot of these type of guards in foul
Right.
trouble. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it goes both ways, MJ. That's a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
Harper's been unreal in this playoff run. Like I was high on him when he got drafted. He was good in the regular season. You know, he made it to the sixth man of the year votes and for rookie of the year votes as well. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 13 points a game in your first playoff run. You started 2 games. He's shooting 36% from 3-point range right now, which again for a rookie, these are incredible numbers. But then you watch how he gets all of those buckets. They're off the dribble. He's isolating. He's scoring against some of the best defensive guards in the league. I mean, just the boldness of this Spurs team, I think, has really helped them out. They've really sort of they've gotten away from the they're too young, they don't know what they're doing yet. They know who they are, they know who they want to be. This Knicks team, though, on the other hand, these are guys that desperately want a championship at this stage in their career. These are guys who are looking for the validation that a ring could bring. You know, you look at Jalen Brunson. He's had an MVP level year. If he wins Finals MVP and Conference Finals MVP, which he already's done that part, I mean, this could put him into the upper echelon of the greatest Knicks of all time.
Mm-hmm.
These are guys whose legacies are banking in on this. And Noah, this is a team that they spent a lot of money to get here. The Knicks are not they weren't like cheaply put together. Brunson had to take a sacrifice so that they could sign a whole bunch of expensive players. What's the situation going to be like here for the Knicks in terms of pressure? Do you think that the Knicks are under more pressure to win this than the Spurs are?
Oh, 100%. I think there's definitely a pressure. I mean, first of all, from their fans. Let's be honest with that. Like their fans, Stephen A. Smith, all these guys, they're gonna be on these Knicks. If they lose, it's gonna be. I don't know if. Well, here's the thing. I don't know if New York exists if they win or even if they lose. Like the city's getting blown up regardless. So there's that. I
Yeah.
think yeah, obviously from a standpoint of just pressure from the players too. Like this isn't being a finals where the Knicks have just appeared. Like this has been a build up, a progression over years and years and years of trying and failing, right? And I mean, you've made it. And honestly, guys, like this is a team that the Knicks should be. If we're just thinking about it, they're the older team. They're the more experienced team. In my opinion, they're the more deeper team. Let's be honest. So the pressure is definitely on their side. And I mean, you look how they were built. There's been a lot of doubt surrounding this Knicks team. Like it's not like it's been all sunshine and rainbows. When the Knicks acquired Brunson, Knicks fans weren't. I remember Knicks fans weren't too happy. Who's this guy from the Mavs? He's a 6 foot undersized guard. Um, and Brunson's obviously had that since his college days in Villanova. He's always been doubted, but he's proven everybody wrong. Same with the Bridges signing and the OG signing. Why are we giving all these guys all this money for role players?
Josh Hart.
Josh Hart. And you look at them all, they become staples for this Knicks team. Fan favorites for this Knicks team. Cat. A lot of people question that move. Why are we getting this guy who can't perform in the playoffs? This season he stepped up. He's shown that he can be that center. So it's really just seeing this team evolve and become the team they are today, and it's really impressive. And honestly, as I said, they 100% should have all the pressure, and they definitely are the favorites to win. But at the end of the day, the other side has Wembenyama, and at the end of the day, Wembenyama can snatch that chip from you in a second. So it's going to be a great finals.
Here's a fun stat for you guys. Mikal Bridges.
Z, not to interrupt you. Get
Okay,
into
go ahead.
frame
Go
real
ahead.
quick.
Oh,
No,
thank
get
you,
into
thank
frame.
you.
All right, yeah.
Mikal Bridges hasn't missed a free throw this entire playoffs. Just a
Oh
fun
wow.
little stat for you. And on top of that,
It's
too,
crazy.
Mitchell Robinson in the 13 games that he's played is leading the entire playoffs in field goal percentage at 73.7%. Obviously, a lot of those are
Mm,
dunks, but still
yeah.
super impressive. I think this Knicks team, you're right, Noah. There's so much in terms of storylines, guys who were given up on or guys who were doubted coming to prove it. And it, like, again, not to be the Lakers fan, it reminds me of 2020 when the Lakers won it because those were a lot of guys who were doubted as well. Like LeBron and AD were obviously super highly touted, but no one knew who Caruso was. No one believed in Avery Bradley. No one believed in JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard at that stage of their career. Like these were guys who were end of the bench guys for a lot of teams.
I mean, Avery Bradley was respected around the league, but I can
I
see where
mean,
you're
you want me to
coming
pick like I could pick another
No,
championship
no,
team
no,
as well,
no.
like the
from. No, no, no,
Raptors,
no, no, no.
the Raptors, like the even the Nuggets to a degree. Some of their players were doubted as well. Like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Yeah,
guys who
yeah,
are really trying to prove something. But
Yeah.
so are the Spurs. I mean, MJ, the Spurs are trying to prove that they don't just get to the finish line; they can cross it too.
right,
And
right.
they've got a bunch of young guys who have never been here before. They've got a few vets on that team as well. Who are you looking for to step up to the plate and really take this team over the hump for the Spurs when it comes to this final series? Who's going to be the X factor?
Well, I think for me, it's the two shooters in Devin Vassell and Julian Champagny. I think those are, for the people who understand the big names and know who Stephon Castle is, who know who De'Aaron Fox is, Wemby and Dylan Harper. I think you gotta watch out for Devin Vassell and Julian Champagny. I think Champagny jersey number is like 30 and Vassell's 24, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. But I could be wrong, but I think it's one of those two. But those two guys are their like main like shooters. Like those are the guys that, they trust in terms of, taking and making threes. Like those are the guys who are gonna be able to kind of get that attention from opposing defenses. So because I've seen games where Devin Vassell was really, really good. Julian Champagny in the conference finals had like a 3 game stretch where he was not shooting the ball well, basically, right? And I think in game 5 he got back to shooting the ball well again. So, they're going to have to be critical because the Spurs, like I said, I already mentioned it, they're not a great 3 point shooting team. So, if the main shooters aren't hitting their shots, that's going to make things extremely difficult for them. So, yeah, I think though those two guys in and of itself, like they're both X factors to me because of the fact that you're not like the Knicks where you have McCall and OG or Cat or Brunson who are all good shooters. But you're really from the Spurs. Like De'Aaron Fox post All Star break has been a better 3 point shooter, but still teams will rather go under because they know how athletic Fox is and give him that jump shot as opposed to going over and then obviously you're at the mercy of Wemby as well, him rolling to the basket. So I think Vassell and Champagne, man, if they're able to shoot the ball well from three, that's going to alleviate so much for the San Antonio Spurs, and it's going to open up the driving lanes even more because you got to stay connected to those shooters as opposed to helping off of a Castle drive or helping off of a Dylan Harper drive or a De'Aaron Fox drive. So if they're able to hit their shots, it's going to open up their offense even more. So they're going to have to be consistent. They're going to have to be consistent. I think in the OKC series, they kind of learned in the sense, okay, Vassell has enough game, but Julian is hitting, or Julian is having a bad stretch, and then Vassell's hitting his shots. Not in this one. In this one,
You gotta both
if
be
they're
hitting.
able to have really good shooting games, it's going to help a lot.
And they're going to be tasked on defense a lot as well because the Knicks, they almost make you have to switch between all of their screening action because all of their guys can score off of pick and roll situations, pick and pop situations, if you're talking about Karl Anthony Towns as well. And to me, Noah, I feel like Cat is the X factor for the Knicks. Like, you can get Victor Wembanyama in foul trouble if you force him to guard you. You can be this big force on the inside if Vic doesn't want to guard you. And on top of that, you can pull Vic out of the paint because you're a 40+% 3-point shooter. Like, in my opinion, Cat could flip this whole series on its head if he becomes the 30-10 guy that we hoped he could become at some point in his career. Does he have that in him, do you think?
I think he has it in him, guys, but I think we got to put more respect on Wemby's name, man. Like, this is Wembanyama we're talking about. I think there's this notion that, Cat can somehow take advantage of Wemby. Guys, Wemby, I think, is everything Cat is, but he also has, obviously, his defensive ability. Like, in my opinion, it's not even a question, like a comparison. Like, Wemby is clearly the better player, and he's going to own the paint. I think let's just make it straight here. He's going to own the paint. And that's what he's done all playoffs. Like, you can see, I know we were just bashing Chet, and I know Chet, we have our opinions on Chet, but you saw how he handled Chet. Chet is usually a dominant player against other teams. Against the Spurs, though, he's just not. He was totally shut down. Why? I'm going to pose this question to you guys. Why do you guys think that it's not going to be the same for Cat here in this series against Wembanyama? Because, in my opinion, I think there's a big chance here that Cat struggles. And I know he can shoot from the three, but I'm not sure if that's gonna, take the Knicks to the promised land into a chip because he's gonna need to step up if that happens if they're gonna win.
The one thing I will say about Wemby's run in this playoff run, not to take anything away from it, because he's been incredible this entire playoffs. He hasn't had to guard a serious offensive center this entire playoffs.
And that's true.
Yeah. I almost thought about Embiid, but Embiid was hurt. Yeah.
But at the same time,
and also in the West, right? Like, Wemby has munched up the Blazers, obviously, because the Blazers were a young team on their first year. You had Gobert in the second round, so no offense to worry about. And then you had Chet in the conference finals, no offense to worry about. Hartenstein, on the other hand, with that floater, there were a couple games where Hartenstein looked like he was starting to figure out Wemby slightly.
Yeah, slightly.
Whatever Hartenstein can do with the floater, Cat can too. And he's got a great post game and he's got a great jump shot to match it as well. And I think that's going to give Wemby some new problems he hasn't figured out yet.
No, and honestly, you're right. I agree. And I just think at the same time, Wemby at the end of the day, he's like a lock for decoy every year. Like, he can play defense. That's one of his strengths. And you're right. That is something that the Knicks could easily manipulate. They could take away from that OKC series, and they probably will. But at the same time, what Wemby can do to respond is obviously evolve in his own way, right? And be aware of that and make adjustments himself. Because at the end of the day, you're right. That is something that could be exploited. And you know what? I think if I was to predict how Cat comes out, I think it's going to be a battle. I think we could see some Wemby Cat duels here. I really do, because I think this is going to be a big man. This can be a big man game. Obviously the guards, there's lots of stars, but as I kind of mentioned, they're almost going to be kind of negated a little bit and canceled out because of the star power, obviously with the big man. So it's going to be interesting. And yeah, man, I'm a Wemby guy here, and I believe in Wemby, and I think Wemby's going to, put on the locks. But at the same time, I think Cat is due for a big series, and he's going to have to, right? He's going to have to.
Yeah, one more thing before we get into our finals predictions, of course, the most anticipated part of this. is the bench, right? We talked about the stars. Depth is going to matter in the finals as well because there's going to be a lot of guys who are going to get in foul trouble, inevitably just because the offense is going to be so good and the defense is going to be so physical. MJ, the Spurs against the Thunder, OKC had a lot of good bench scoring games. I remember that at certain points in the series, I think the Thunder had doubled up the Spurs bench in scoring. There were a
Yes.
few games where like they were in completely different classes. New York,
Hmm.
last year we said one of their biggest flaws was that they didn't go to their bench enough. This year has not been entirely the same. They're still very much a top heavy team, but they've got a little bit more on their bench that's helped them, especially when you think about Jordan Clarkson and Landry Shamet,
Hmm.
Deuce McBride. The Spurs, on the other hand, they've got, I think, maybe two or three good bench options they could go to, but I think they're going to run about 7 or 8 deep in this series. Who do you think's got the better bench here?
Well, I think obviously I trust the Knicks. I trust the Knicks a little bit more than the Spurs. I think with the Spurs, Carter Bryant is still a young player. I have belief in Dylan Harper. Luke Cornett is obviously gonna get those minutes, those non-Wemby minutes. In a sense, I do. I hope Harrison Barnes doesn't play in this series because it's the same feeling that I had with Mike Conley. Like Mike Conley playing 24 minutes in game one was, I think, probably the most shocking thing in the world because you cannot be having these old heads parading around the court and not be exploiting that in a sense. So I do trust the Knicks here off the bench. I think just because you look at the fact that they've been able, I think the biggest thing was like last year, Tom Thibodeau had the exact same team and he wasn't able to use his bench and he was too over reliant on Cat and Brunson. But the biggest difference is this year, Mike Brown is kind of taking the burden off of Cat and Brunson and not overworking them as much. And also, he's been more dependent on their bench, the depth that they have. Like, they obviously, you look at the fact that they have, Deuce McBride, they have Landry Shamet, they have Mitchell Robinson, they have Jordan Clarkson, right? Like, we're talking about a nine, even Jose Alvarado, right? Like, we're talking about a 9 to 10 man unit that they could run as opposed to the Spurs. Maybe 9 man max, maybe, but it would also depend on how comfortable they feel adding other pieces. But it also wouldn't surprise me if anyone really from the Spurs bench is also able to step up as well, just because of the fact that even though you may not have the depth compared to the Knicks, um, you can still step up. Like this is going to be an opportunity where, like, the minutes are going to be there when the main players are off the floor. So if you're Carter Bryant, why not take this opportunity to be even better? If you're Luke Cornett, why not take this opportunity to be even better? Right. So I think that's obviously something that the Spurs are going to have to counter is against the Knicks depth. And so if they're able to keep if the bench points, because in the OKC series it was like 5 games where OKC was just dominating and bench points. And then the Spurs kind of got the better of them in the last 2 games or so, if I'm not mistaken. At least game six, like they were really, really good off the bench. I don't know about game seven because most of the starters are playing, but that's something that like the Spurs will have to also adjust to is like the Knicks have that depth and the Spurs in a sense don't have as many guys to go to, but if they're able to keep themselves afloat within the game, I think it's gonna pay off in the end.
No, I agree because I was just gonna mention that MJ, like in that OKC series, the Spurs bench was just they were outscored completely.
Yeah.
And I think it
Yeah.
showed us that the Spurs are a top heavy team. At the end of the day, they are a top heavy team. You look at the
Hmm.
Knicks, as I mentioned before, they are a cohesive unit. They are a
Hmm.
team from top to
Yeah.
bottom. And
Hmm.
that's what's going to ultimately win this series for the Knicks. If they are to win, it's going to be how
Yeah.
they can join as a team and work together
Hmm.
here and really just dismantle this Spurs team from
Right.
each every side, right? So yeah,
Hmm.
no, I'm glad you touched on that.
And no,
Hmm.
if we're gonna talk about benches, you got to talk about the guys at the helm of them as well. You got Mike Brown on one side, a great coach. He's been to the finals before, both as an assistant and as a head coach. Has really revolutionized the culture in New York. And then Mitch Johnson for the Spurs. Big shoes to fill when you're filling
Yeah.
in for G Pop, Greg Popovich, has really come to life in this playoff run. Whether it's been the way he talks to his players or the incredible adjustments he makes game to game. Who do you think has a coaching advantage, if there is one here in this series, Noah?
Oh, I think it's for sure the Knicks. Like, are you like? I don't, not a question. I think Brown he's one of the most underrated coaches, and like I said, when he was hired, like he wasn't even really favored by the Knicks. I think he was like their fourth option. Like he was kind of a surprising hire, but he's a player's coach. Like he just meshes. We saw this in Sacramento too. He just meshes with his teams and he gets the most out of his teams. And you look at this bench, like even got like it's like Miles McBride, like young guys like that. Obviously Robinson, Clarkson. I think a lot of people wrote him off. I did. I never thought he was a player that could really be a player like this that could perform on a bench, but he is. I never really liked him, but he's performed. I like you now. You know what I'm saying? Jordan Clarkson. So I really, really like how Brown coaches. He's a player's coach, but at the same time, he's in control of his team. And I think we've kind of gotten away from that. Like, I'm going to diss LeBron now. LeBron kind of created this notion that players are in control. And listen, it's not even just LeBron, but it's like all the players from his generation. Like, the Hardens, we just talked about Harden, the
Hmm.
Durants, and all of them fell on their face when they tried to lead their team. Because at the end of the day, like, coaches are meant to be coaches, players are meant to be players. And I
Hmm.
think at when you look at both of these coaches, one thing they have done right is they are clearly the ones leading their teams. It's not Wemby, leading the charge. It's not, Brunson leading the charge. It's the coaches, right? And I think this is a new trend that we're gonna hopefully see return to the NBA. It's coaches kind of have their say again. And you know what? When I look at both coaches here in this series, they both done a phenomenal, phenomenal job. Even with Mitchell, I think you led this Spurs team when no one expected them to be in the spot that they are, and it's been like this the whole season. Second seed to now finals, like that deserves some recognition. And then, as I said, obviously with Brown, taking this Knicks team to the finals when no other coach could since what 1999. So it's impressive.
Yeah, it's incredible. MJ, what do you think? Who do you think has the coaching advantage here? The Knicks or the Spurs?
Uh, I think what I've been able to like about Mitch Johnson is the fact that in a good way, he's been forced to adjust more. I think with Mike Brown, in a sense, what's been so great about the Knicks is that because they've been so dominant, Mike Brown has been able to adjust little things in their offense, but it hasn't been crazy adjustments. Mitch Robinson, it goes back to the Blazers series, having to adjust to a game with that when Wemby was being concussed, having to adjust in the Timberwolves series multiple times when the Timberwolves are being physical, him being able to have to adjust again. Obviously, Wemby getting suspended for the rest of that game, like he had to adjust as well. And then in the OKC series, like he had to adjust game after game after game after game. So I think with him, I kind of like the fact that like when you're a coach and you're able to go through that adversity round in, round out, round in, it's able to help you adjust even more on the fly and realize that it's like, oh, okay, the adjustments that I need to make, I don't need to make them game by game by game. It can instead just be quarter by quarter by quarter, basically, right? Because he's been able to learn. And like I said, Mitch Johnson, obviously, this is also his first year in the playoffs, so he's also learning as well as he goes. But I think what I like the fact, Noah, is the fact that they've been more battle tested. So you've been forced to make more adjustments, basically. And I think that helps because when you're able to be more battle tested, it allows you to adjust certain things. It allows you to maybe, if there's something on defense that you don't like, you can adjust. If there's something on offense that you don't like, then you can adjust. And so I think that that's been the point of emphasis for me. I think Mitch, just because of the fact that he's gone through tougher matchups, I think that's going to help them a little bit in a sense, kind of have that advantage of like, well, the Knicks have been able to beat everybody that's been in front of them, and rightfully so. But we have to go through the gauntlet versus the Spurs, and we have to go through the gauntlet versus OKC. So that should, in theory, that should give him an advantage to be more prone to adjust quicker as opposed to like taking his time with it.
Oh, 100%. I agree with everything you said. Like adversity in the playoffs, that's what allows teams to win championship. Like I think we
Mhm.
underrate how important that adversity is.
Right.
Um, you look at the Knicks and you look at the Spurs and their paths. We can look at the Knicks and we can say they cruised to the finals, and they did. They swept two teams in back-to-back
Mhm.
rounds on the
Right.
en route to the finals. Meanwhile, the Spurs guys they had to go through the OKC Thunder and beat them. Even a
Mhm.
team like last year, the Nuggets couldn't even do that, and they are a
Right.
team who won in the past, and they couldn't even
Right.
beat it. Okay, the Spurs, this is their first time ever being in the playoffs, and they beat the Thunder. So to
Mhm.
me, that's what really gives the Spurs the biggest advantage here is they beat one of the best teams like assembled in a very long time. And I know if OKC won that series and they went against the Knicks here, we're saying OKC is taking this in probably like 5 or 6 games, no question.
Probably, yeah.
But now the Spurs, they beat them. So in theory, it's almost like, whoa, like the Spurs, I think they're a lot better than what we give them credit for, and they showed it. And if I'm the Knicks, I am a little, I wouldn't say fearful, but I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a big challenge here. Like this is gonna be like the last 3 rounds. We're really gonna have to play our best version of Knicks basketball, because if we don't, there's a chance that, we this series ends maybe in 6, maybe. So it's gonna be, yeah, very very interesting to see, and I'm glad that you touched on that, MJ, because yeah, the Spurs have gone through that, and honestly, yeah, props to Mitch.
I agree with the Spurs having gone through a lot more this year, but I will say the Knicks feel more battle tested to me in general, just because they've been to more playoff runs, and Mike Brown has led more teams to playoff success than Mitch has. But I agree, this year the Spurs have been through a lot more. Again, the Spurs, would they have beaten the Thunder if the Thunder were healthy? Who even knows? We're not here to discuss what ifs and hypotheticals. They got to this point, they played who was in front of them, and they got here. But I do think that the Knicks playoff experience separates them, especially because like last year they got to games. What was it? Game 7 against the Pacers. Game 6 against the
Six,
Pacers.
game
Game
six.
six against the Pacers, who ended up going to the finals and had the Thunder on the ropes in that series. Let's get into it. Our predictions, guys. The NBA Finals, the Knicks, the Spurs. MJ, who you got? How many games, and who's your Finals MVP?
Uh, Obviously, if for the people who don't know, I did make a video kind of previewing the Western Conference Finals, and I kind of made my stance on whoever wins that series is, I think, going to win the NBA Finals as well. So obviously, I got to be consistent with my point. I'm gonna take the Spurs in. I think in order for them to really have a chance to win this, I think it's gonna have to go 7 games, and then get that last game. Um, in their home court. I think, especially for a young team, having home court is going to be very, very valuable for them. And I think also the biggest thing, guys, if y'all don't know, game 1 to game 3, there isn't as many rest days, but game 4 to game 7, there's like 2 days in between. So, like at the game 4, 2 days in between, at the game 5, 2 days in. So, that's going to be like really, really valuable for both teams in a sense, because you kind of know, like, at this point, it's like I said, like we're not playing every other day. We're gonna have a little bit of a rest time, but I do have the Spurs in 7 games, and Wemby gets the Finals MVP, and we enter into the Wemby era, man. That's what I have.
The
Yeah.
Wemby
Yeah.
era. Oh my
Hmm.
goodness. Yeah, we're really at the beginning of it. Noah, what do you think?
It's so tough, guys. Like this, it could really go either way. And I wouldn't be
Yeah.
mad if it went either way. I'd be happy, honestly, for
Hmm.
both teams.
Yes.
Are you kidding
Yes.
me? Knicks winning
Hmm.
their first ever championship, and like before
50
any of
years.
on before any of us were even born. Like it's been eons. It
Yeah.
would be unreal to see that. But then also the Spurs, if they won, seeing the Wembanyama win a championship in his first year. Like not
Crazy,
even
bro.
LeBron could do that.
Crazy. Crazy.
But anyways,
Wow.
um, I
Had to
think
take the
this
straight. Jesus Christ.
I I think this series really just hinges on a couple of things. I think, as I said, if the Knicks have to win, they have to work as a team. They got to be physical on Wemby. But even with that, you know, that may not even work, because Wembanyama, he's like almost a guy that doesn't have a ceiling. It's like every time we see him, he just gets better and better and better, and he keeps raising the bar. And guys, I mean, this is gonna be the biggest stage of his career, and we've seen it. Like, did you guys witness how he won? The conference finals MVP. He was ecstatic. He was pumped up. That's something you don't really see from NBA players anymore. Is how
Hmm.
the emotion, right? Like it's. I feel like we live
Hmm.
in like a nonchalant era.
He was
Shea wins
fully
the MVP.
chalant. Very
Yeah, he's
Right.
chalant.
just fully nonchalant. Wins the MVP. Yeah, bro, it's cool. Wemby, if he
Yeah.
won that MVP, he'd be screaming. He'd be screaming down the
Yeah.
building, "Let's go!" And you saw it when he
Yeah.
won. He was pumped up, and that was so refreshing to see. So now he's at the biggest stage of his career. He's gonna be at the top of his game, and he's gonna just relish in the moment, guys. He's not gonna, you know. give 90%, 80%. He's gonna give 150%. He's gonna go at them.
Mhm.
And I think, guys, we've seen this in the past with superstars. He's a superstar that can just elevate a team. It doesn't matter how good the team is. It doesn't matter how good the other team is. Like the generational talents before him, the Jordans, the LeBrons, even the Currys, they can elevate their team just above all the noise and come out and win. And I mean, guys, they're coming off a series where it was insane. It was a battle, but I think they're gonna carry that momentum from that OKC series, and I think they take it all the way to 6 games and they win. If they go up 3-2, I think it's over. I don't think there's a chance in heck that the Knicks or that the Spurs, sorry, lose that game 6. It's gonna be in the Knicks' house, but I think that's gonna be more fuel to the fire, and I think it goes to 6 games for the Spurs. Finals MVP, bro, it's Wemby.
Yeah, there's no doubt about who would be Finals MVP. I think if the Spurs win it, it has to be Victor that would carry them across the finish line. Unfortunately, I don't have that happening for the Spurs. I think the Knicks take this in 6. Knicks in 6, baby. Listen, Madison Square Garden in the NBA Finals, that is the most hostile arena you could possibly play in if you're the San Antonio Spurs. Like,
Huh?
this is going to be an absolutely insane arena. Not only will it be super loud, but you've got New York. New York fans are insane. They are among the nastiest fans in the world when it comes to the opposing team.
Blaze.
No, mind you, the Spurs just went through the den that is Oklahoma City. They just had to
Exactly.
deal
And
with
Victor
that
didn't
crowd.
have
Exactly.
to. Victor didn't have
Like,
to guard anything. He was guarding Chet Holmgren.
Okay.
He was.
But he
on
was
Chet Holmgren.
still good. He
was
was
still
still
And
good,
he was
bro.
and he was good. And I think he's going to be good in this series too, to be honest. Like I think Victor Wembanyama is not going to disappoint. I think the rest of the Knicks are going to be better than the rest of the Spurs. I think it's Knicks in 6. And I think honestly it should be Jalen Brunson to win Finals MVP, but don't be surprised if Cat has a huge series and he steals that away. It could be a Cat Finals
Nah,
MVP.
MJ.
I've been hearing that Cat whispers because Cat technically does have the advantage if he's not being guarded by Wemby. He technically has more advantages.
And if he is being guarded by Wemby and he makes Wemby work and looks good against Wemby, I mean that's a new level for us to see Cat at. That is Cat becoming, a top 10 player. Does he edge into top 5?
Okay, what is this random Cat Blaze, bro? Like what?
He's
is
been
this,
playing
bro?
well in the
Top 10
playoffs. What do you
player?
want me to tell you? He's been playing well in
He's
this
been
playoffs.
good.
Obviously,
Okay,
Brunson's the
wait,
best player on the
wait.
team. Obviously, Brunson's the best player. But in this series, Cat might be the X factor that changes it for the Knicks.
Wait, hold on now. MJ on defense,
Mhm.
Cat against Wemby. What is happening?
I also
They
don't
guard
think
each
Cat's
other.
going to
What
guard
is
Wemby.
happening?
I don't think Cat's
Huh?
going to guard Wemby.
Listen,
I don't think Cat guards Wemby.
no. Cat's gonna be guarding. Who's Cat gonna be guarding? Like Champagne, probably. I think
Yeah.
he might be guarding Champagne.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
He's not guarding Vassell, but I think he might guard Champagne.
He'll guard
guarding
whoever's in the
Wemby?
corner. Wemby,
Who's guarding
probably.
Wemby, OG.
OG and Mikhail. I think you're going to see them give him different looks.
Well, Cat on occasion is probably gonna guard.
I was gonna
Wemby.
say.
The Knicks
I
will
think
throw
it's gonna
different
be a
looks.
trio effort. Yeah, trio effort against Wemby. Yeah,
Mhm.
it has to be.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah, I
think
think it'll.
like you can focus so much more of your attention on Wemby as well. Like the rest of the Spurs are really good. Like I have no qualms about this team in terms of their talent level. I just think I don't have any qualms about the Knicks either. And if I'm gonna trust someone in the finals, OG Anunoby's been there before. You got Mikal Bridges is the NBA's Iron Man. Jalen Brunson has been the best scorer in this playoffs probably outside of Donovan Mitchell in terms of volume. It's been Jalen Brunson, and like Mike Brown's a great coach. He's been in these situations before. He's been with a lot of greats in these situations before, so he's got a lot of books to pull from. And I think in this case, the story for me, Knicks in 6. Brunson probably Finals MVP. Don't be surprised if Cat steals it. But I'll go with
Yeah,
Brunson.
you know what? Yeah, I can't argue because you're right. Even if, like, let's say the Knicks do go up 3-2, they go back home to New York. You think they lose that game? That's gonna be crazy.
Bro.
Like
But at
if
the
you're
same time, guys, listen.
yeah.
Here's another point that I want to say, and this is just I'm gonna kind of hit home the Spurs even more here. MJ, they were down. They had to win 2 straight games against the Thunder to win that
Mhm.
series.
Right.
The Spurs aren't afraid of being down in a series, bro. They were down to the Thunder.
No.
So at the same
Right.
time, it's like, okay, I feel like the Spurs could go into the Knicks' house and still win. You know what I'm saying? I have that
Yeah.
confidence in this team. I really do. And but like you said, Z, I do agree. Like this team, if you just look at them, they are better in each category. Like experience. I'm glad you even brought up OG and Macau. OG won his chip. Macau lost his opportunity. He wants redemption now, so he's probably gonna play his butt off too. But they have the experience, they have the coaching, they have the depth. They just don't have the Wemby. You know, we have
That's
a
the
Wemby.
difference. And if he's the
We
difference
have a Wemby.
maker, chalk it up. Like
We have a Wemby. It doesn't matter. It
Wait,
cancels anything
wait,
out.
wait, wait, wait. If you have them winning in 6 games, I'm assuming you have them winning both of their games in their home floor.
I think it's gonna go Spurs. Wait, no, it's gonna go Spurs, Knicks, 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 Spurs, Knicks.
What? Okay, okay, MJ.
You're crazy, bro. You're crazy. If San Antonio survived the dens of Oklahoma City, I think they can go into New York and get a game.
They're
I
definitely
definitely
getting a
say they
game.
can get it. At least they're getting a game. They
I
survived the dens of
They might.
OKC.
They
I
might.
I agree that the Knicks might win game one. The Knicks
Yeah.
might win game one, but
Hmm.
I feel like even if they don't, like I think the Spurs are definitely gonna have a good game two, and then game three, yeah, I don't think the Knicks win both three and four. There's no way. There's literally no way.
Wow.
The Spurs
Both
are
of the
gonna win.
games.
I don't know.
Wow.
They've played
Interesting.
really really well at home this year in general, like in the regular season and in the
Hmm.
playoffs. They've loved their home court, and their fans are. I mean, we thought New York fans were crazy in the regular season. Then we thought they were crazy in the playoffs. They're in the finals.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the guys that are
Yeah.
at that arena were not alive the last time that they were here. Do you know the kind of
Yeah.
excitement that is built in that city? Like there are generations
Mhm.
waiting for this. I think those
Yeah.
fans are
Yeah,
going to actually sway the series.
No, I
Yeah.
agree, and I think that yeah, it's there's so many storylines. If Brunson wins this, like he's definitely the best Nick of all time. There's no question about that, in my opinion. And honestly, he cements himself as one of the best point guards in the league too, up there with Shea. You know, to win the Finals MVP and the obviously
Finals.
yeah the championship with
The
Shea. That'd be
championship.
insane. But
Yeah.
then with Wemby, I mean, this guy he's on his way to become the GOAT. I think he's LeBron is probably right now. He's taking a gulp because he did all this. He's about to retire. Oh, I'm the goat, and then Wemby arrives, and it's like I don't know. In 20 years, LeBron, you might be number three. So yeah,
Number
it's gonna be
three.
crazy.
Number three. Top two at worst. I'm gonna go second at worst. See, you even got Big Brr upset over here. My cat Cuckoo is upset now. You got Carl Anthony Towns upset right here, man. You can't do that. No, I think if Wemby ends up being the GOAT, Wemby ends up being the GOAT, but LeBron's still got to be second. There's no Michael Jordan anymore. You know, we're done with the 90s.
Guys, who do you think it would be like? Which storyline do you think is more impressive, Wemby winning or Brunson? And the Knicks. I guess just Knicks as a whole.
I think
It's
that
not
the
really-
Knicks storyline is more interesting than the Jalen one to me. If you're gonna go Knicks versus Wemby, I gotta say the Knicks. 50 years. 50. It's got to be the Knicks for me.
and Wemby winning in his first playoff.
I'm about to say, bro.
Like think about it,
Wemby
guys.
wins
All that
this?
pressure on Wemby, it all comes down to this, and he performs, and he actually goes above the bar that was set for him. What about you,
Crazy.
MJ?
Now I say if Wemby wins it, then it's like LeBron, you're cooked. Jordan, you may be cooked too. I can't even lie. It's gonna start like if we project him to be what he could potentially be. I think it's no doubt in my mind. I think in real time, like we might be potentially seeing like the greatest player of all time. Like that's how much this championship will do for him because it's gonna jumpstart what he could potentially be. And I think also because we're operating in a new CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, the Spurs are gonna be cooked in about 2 to 3 years because they gotta pay Castle, they gotta play Harper, right? Like Wemby's gonna I have heard that Wemby's gonna get like a supermax extension this
As
summer.
he should.
Money's gonna start getting tight. Like you saw with OKC, Chad Holmgren gonna get paid 41 million starting next year. Like it's gonna start. If I'm the Spurs, like obviously I think to me like the Spurs do have pressure, but not to the same extent as the Knicks. But if I'm the Spurs, brother, if we get this championship, this is gonna help us even more going into the future, as opposed to we don't win this, and then the next 2 years we gotta pay everybody. And also, you come back next year, you don't know. Like in the West, like you may make it one year, the following year you may not make it to the finals again. Like we saw with OKC. right? Like we're gonna have the eighth different champion this year. So if I'm the Spurs, man, like I'm absolutely let's get this done. Let's jumpstart, this era. And yeah, before those contracts kick in. Because once those contracts kick in, it's gonna be very difficult to get the team that you want, basically from not just the starters, but also from the depth standpoint.
Finals
Yeah.
are starting literally tomorrow, guys. Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time. The Knicks will take on the Spurs in San Antonio. June 5th, it's another game in San Antonio. Then you've got two games in New York here in Madison Square Garden, June 8th and June 10th. Game 5,
Man.
if necessary, June 13th. Game 6, if necessary, June 16th. And then June 19th. Make sure you guys have it booked off. Because Game 7
Game
is
7.
a real possibility in this series.
That'll be really good. That'll be really good. Back to back, like years of game sevens. That'll be great. That would be great.
Oh my god, cinema, guys, cinema. We're spoiled right now. We're in a new era. No more, LeBron every year. No more like Kevin Durant, Curry. These boring like what was it? Nuggets versus Heat. That was the finals at one
That
point.
was a pretty garbage final.
We're done with that. We're done with that. We're done with that.
Yeah, that was bad. I can't even lie. That was
Celtics
bad.
Mavs wasn't even that good. Yeah, it's
It
getting to be
wasn't.
bad.
It
It's
wasn't.
getting to be bad.
No, I love these type of series where there's not a clear favorite. Like it literally could go either way. We don't know.
Mhm. Yeah.
We'll
I
find
think
out soon though.
this could be the best finals of the 2020s, depending on how it compares with last year's series against Indiana.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the barometer, I think.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
And that's going to do it for us on this episode. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcast, follow us there too. Give us 5 stars. Leave a like and a comment. Let us know what you think about this coming finals and how Jalen Brunson could potentially be crowned the king of New York or Wemby the king of the NBA. I mean, he's already the best player in the NBA in my opinion, but he could be in GOAT status pretty soon.
Yeah, LeBron's throne is demolished.
Okay.
I will say, if the Knicks win, which I don't mind either, as Noah said, I do know someone who's like a Knicks fan. I don't think I'm gonna hear from him from probably about like 4 days after they win. So I think I feel like I feel like everything's getting burned down. Like the bodegas are getting burned down.
Yeah.
The like the Statue of Liberty,
That's
somehow
gone.
somewhere I feel like they're gonna try to get that down too, bro. It's actually
Win or
gonna be
lose. Win or lose.
mayhem.
man.
Win or lose, yeah.
Actually,
Just if they're gonna do it with
something's getting
smiles or
burned
with
down.
anger, that's it. It's
Yeah,
done.
something's getting burned down, bro. Yeah.
It's actually crazy, but
But
we'll
yeah,
see you
no,
guys.
LeBron,
Go ahead.
before we say goodbye, we haven't talked in a while. I just want to get this across. Check out our Instagram. MJ's posting a lot of new content on there.
Shout out.
It's really looking great.
Mhm.
And we're gonna continue to do this summer. It's not gonna be as consistent as past. Where we're doing the podcast, but guys, we're still gonna get content out. We have a World Cup preview coming up.
Yes.
That's gonna be insane.
Yes.
We have 2 guest stars, analysts, best in Calgary. So it's gonna be absolutely insane.
It's gonna be
And yeah,
box
that's all I have to
office.
say.
The debates in that one are gonna be insane. I already know. If David's in
And
that
once
video,
we get
it's
to
gonna
the
be crazy.
fall, the
Woo.
pod is back full time again. So
Back.
Hey,
Looking forward to
WNBA
that.
season, CEBL season this summer as well. Gonna be super fun to watch. Got a James Harden negative video coming out just for MJ. You know what I'm saying?
This guy.
Fear the beard when he disappeared. I don't know, man. It's gonna be crazy.
Oh man.
But without further ado, we'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much. Make sure you follow us wherever you are seeing this or hearing this, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
I don't even want to